Hello, welcome back to the channel. In this video, we are going to deep dive into optimization in MySQL. This will help us in learning how to write efficient queries and structure the database for fast and responsive applications. So, we are going to see why do we need to optimize the queries, then the use of proper indexing, how how to optimize the select statement, then use of explain and etc. Okay, so we'll see all these topics in this video. So why optimize queries? The poorly written queries can cause slow response times and increased server load. So optimization improves performance, reduce resource consumption, and provides better user experience. MySQL's query optimizer helps, but you need to write queries that work well with it. Okay, so optimizer will work, but we need to write the queries, optimized queries from our end also. So proper indexing is also very important when it comes to performance. Index columns used frequently in where clause, joins, order by, and group by. Okay, then create single column or composite indexes thoughtfully for common query patterns. We need to avoid over-indexing as it slows down writes, that is insert, update and delete operations. So we need to avoid over-indexing. So we will see one example of creating index. So create index idx underscore email, the name to the index. Always try to use the descriptive names on users table and the email column. In this way, we can create the index on users table. Okay. Then also create index idx underscore name underscore date of birth dob on users last name comma date of birth. In this way, we can create the indexes on a certain table. Then we will see optimize how can we optimize the select statement. Okay, so we need to avoid the select star because it will increase the overhead, and try to specify only required columns to avoid columns to reduce data transfer. Unnecessary data transfer we need to avoid. So use filtering with where to reduce scan rows. Use limit to return only needed rows, especially for large data sets. Okay, so this is you can see the one example. Rather than using select star, here it is used select then name and email. These are the only fields or columns we want. That's why we are only mentioning those column names and not the star to avoid the huge data transfer. Okay, from customers. We are also filtering with where because we want only customers from Mumbai. Okay, then we need to use the explain to analyze queries. So how can we do that? So we need to use the explain statement before our query, see how MySQL executed, which indices are used, join order, and access types. Okay. Read the output to identify full table scans or missing indices. So we will see how can we use the explain. So explain, select star from orders where customer underscore ID equals to 1, 2, 3. So using this in using explain, you can see or we can get what actually we want. Okay, I will check. I will write once again on student table where student underscore ID equals to 1. Now I will run this and you can see these are the details coming out. So we are extracting we are using where clause, then filtering has been done, number of rows. Okay, so these are the table name explanation we get from explain keyword. So avoid unnecessary joins and subqueries. We need to replace correlated subqueries with joins for better performance. Join only necessary tables and columns. You can see one example. First version is subquery version, that is select star from employees where department underscore ID in, and here comes the subquery, that is select ID from departments where location equals to NY, that is for New York. And then the optimized join version, rather than using subquery, here we are using the join. Select e dot star, that means all things employees from employees table E join department D on E dot department underscore ID equals to D dot ID, where D dot location equals to New York. So we are joining these two tables and retrieving the respective result rather than using the select query. So we need to avoid unnecessary use of joins and subquery to avoid the excess data transfer, which will hamper the performance of our query. Then partition is also one of the important thing when it comes to large tables. This will help us to improve the performance. Okay. Partitioning divides large tables into smaller segments, improving query speed by scanning relevant partition only. Okay. So rather than scanning the whole data, we just scan the relevant partition. This will help us to improve the performance. So partitioning a large tables is also important thing when it comes to optimization. So use indexes smartly and update them regularly or monitor to avoid the or to get the best result. We need to avoid the select star, only need to fetch the needed columns from the table. Then try to filter the records as early as possible with the help of where clause. That means before transfer of records, we need to filter at the table level itself. Then regularly we need to analyze slow queries using explain. Explain will help us to understand why like the query executing slowly or taking long time. We need to always test the query performance impact after changes and the consider caching and denormalization when appropriate or if suitable to improve the query performance. Thanks for watching. Practice these optimization tips to boost your MySQL efficiency. Do like, share and subscribe to the channel. Turn on notification for such new videos. See you in the next video. Keep learning.